You ever click that Buy Now button and have a package just show up on your doorstep the very next day? It feels like magic, right? Well, behind that magic, there's this hidden world, this incredible ballet of automation happening inside these gigantic warehouses. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the robot army that makes all of that possible.
I mean, we've all thought about it. And the answer isn't just about fast delivery trucks. It actually starts the second you place your order, with a really sophisticated system that's designed to fight the #1 enemy of efficiency in any warehouse. So to really appreciate how brilliant the solution was, we first have to get our heads around the massive problem that's been plaguing logistics for decades. Motion waste. That's the technical term, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's time spent just moving around, not actually doing anything useful. Think about it. In a classic old-school warehouse, the pickers, the people who actually grab your stuff off the shelves, could spend up to 70% of their day just walking. 70%. Just walking. And this image, wow, it just captures that old way of doing things perfectly. I mean, can you imagine walking for miles and miles every single day through these endless corridors, probably carrying something heavy? It's not just inefficient, it's totally exhausting for the workers. Something had to give. So this led to a total flip in the way people thought about this. Instead of sending a person on this long trek to find a product, what if the product could come directly to them? That one simple idea is the foundation of the entire modern smart warehouse. And the piece of technology that turns this whole parts-to-picker idea from a cool concept into a reality, well, that would be the hero of our story today, the smart robot. This little fella is an autonomous mobile robot, or AMR for short. And you're looking at one of the most famous ones out there, the Kiva robot. Amazon actually bought the company that makes these things, and now these little orange bots are the absolute workhorses of their fulfillment centers. So what's the big deal about an AMR? Well, unlike older robots, they don't need any special tracks or, magnetic tape on the floor to find their way around. They are truly autonomous. They can understand and navigate a super complex, always changing environment completely on their own. The best way to think about the difference is like this. The older tech, AGVs, they were like trains stuck on a fixed track. If something blocked that track, the whole system just stopped. But AMRs, they're like cars with a really good GPS. If there's a traffic jam or some box in the way, they just instantly figure out a new route. No problem. This autonomy, that's their superpower. But how do they actually do it? How do these little robots see and think and move through a totally chaotic warehouse? Well, they are just packed with a whole suite of sensors. They've got cameras, which are basically their eyes, of course. Gyroscopes and accelerometers give them a sense of balance and motion, kind of like our inner ear does for us. But the real rock star of the whole setup is a sensor called LiDAR. LiDAR works a bit like a bat's echolocation, But instead of using sound waves, it's firing out these tiny pulses of laser light. It shoots the beams out, measures how long it takes for them to bounce back, and uses that info to build this amazingly precise 360-degree map of everything around it, all in real time. Okay, but all that data from the sensors has to be processed, right? And that's where this incredibly clever software called SLAM comes into play. SLAM stands for Simultaneous Localization and Mapping. Here's the best way to think about it. Imagine you're trying to draw a map of a maze while you're still walking through it for the very first time. That's basically what SLAM is doing. It's mapping the world and figuring out where it is in that world at the exact same time. And this whole process allows for just unbelievable agility. So when an AMR comes across an obstacle, say a person walks in front of it or a box falls off a shelf, it doesn't just stop. Nope. It detects it, uses AI to figure out what it is, calculates dozens of new ways to get around it, and then picks the absolute fastest, safest route. And it does all of that in a fraction of a second. It's incredible. So one of these smart robots is impressive on its own, but the real magic, the real game changer, is when you have hundreds of them, all working together in perfect harmony. And to do that, you need a central intelligence, a sort of digital hive mind. I think this quote just nails it. The fleet management system is like the invisible air traffic controller for the entire warehouse floor. It's constantly conducting this orchestra of robots, making sure there are no crashes, and that everything is running as efficiently as humanly or robotically possible.
Now, I know this diagram looks a little complicated, but it shows you just how much this one control system is juggling. Right in the middle, you've got the fleet management system. That's the brain. It's handling everything, telling robots what to do next, mapping out the best paths, keeping an eye on their battery levels, and even running simulations to spot traffic jams before they even happen. It's the nerve center of the whole operation.
And the scale we're talking about here is just mind-blowing. A single piece of fleet management software, something like the Mir Fleet system, can coordinate the incredibly complex dance of up to 100 different robots all at the same time.
But here's something that's really important to understand. All this technology isn't really about replacing humans. It's about creating this powerful new partnership. Which brings us to our last section: how do people and machines actually work together in this new world?
And this brings us right back to where we started, to that huge shift we talked about. You can see it here on the left of the diagram. The old way was all picker to parts. But now, with the new system, the human picker isn't a long-distance traveler anymore. They're a skilled operator stationed in one spot. At the end of the day, it's just a really smart division of labor. The robots take care of the grueling stuff, the miles of walking, the heavy lifting, the mindless back and forth. And that frees up the human workers to focus on what people are still way better at: the delicate, skillful work of seeing the right item, checking its quality, and carefully placing it where it needs to go.
But as we get better and better at optimizing these amazing systems, there's a really critical piece of the puzzle we might be forgetting about. Take a look at this chart from an academic study. It's pretty fascinating. It shows that we obsess over things like performance and cost, right? But the human factors, things like worker well-being, their comfort, their job satisfaction, are barely studied at all.
And that leaves us with a final, and I think a really important question. As these incredible robots take over more and more of the physical, exhausting work, what is the new role for people in the warehouse of the future? And maybe more importantly, how do we make sure we design these systems not just for maximum efficiency, but for the humans who are still right at the heart of it all?